This is The Pillars, the Porch, and the Path, the podcast that invites you to join two Mississippi mystics and real-life sisters as we build the pillars of our craft and share all of the ways that we use our intuitive gifts and spiritual tools to create an intentioned spiritual life full of abundance, prosperity, laughter, and fulfillment. It doesn't matter your lineage or magical tradition. We know that it is lonely out here sometimes for the new mystic, witches, and hoodoos. So know this, you're welcome and wanted here in this magical and charmed corner of Beyonce's internet. If you're ready to create a holistic and modern spiritual lifestyle that respects your uniqueness and embraces eclecticism, you are in the right place. And you are finally here. Come on up on the porch and get ready to enjoy this extra special Boss Witch episode of The Pillars, the Porch, and the Path. This week, I'm thrilled to introduce you to yet another one of my favorite boss witches. She's a tarotologist, a folk herbalist, and now that she's settled into her new home here in the Bay Area, she's dropped by the porch to talk a little tarot with me. So get out your favorite tarot and oracle decks, light those candles, and get ready to enjoy getting to know my friend and fellow boss witch, Kursten Hedgis. Hey everybody, it is Halleck Hannah. Welcome to a very special episode of The Pillars, the Porch, and the Path. This is a bonus mini-sode, and I'm going to be interviewing one of my new favorite people, someone that I hope to be working very closely with on a regular basis moving forward, starting this summer. I'm so thrilled to have her on board today. Everyone, welcome, Kursten Hedgis. Kursten, can you please just do a little brief introduction? Tell us about yourself a little bit, give us a little bit of snippet of who you are, and I've got some juicy, delicious questions for our discussion today. Welcome to The Pillars, the Porch, and the Path.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Halleck, so much for agreeing to sit down and chat with me. We chat a lot, but rarely recorded, so this is just such a special treat. I am Kursten, as Halleck said. Before we get started, I would actually love to just take a moment to take a breath together. In some point in time and space, there are people listening to this, our voices coming to you. And I'd like to, before I introduce myself, maybe just introduce my entourage of energies that would like to be in the space today. So if we can just take a moment with a nice breath in, a nice exhale, feeling yourself in your body, taking another breath in through the nose, maybe with a nice exhale through the mouth. And as we're centered here with our breath and our bodies, two of the most powerful vehicles that we have on this physical plane, I'd love to take a minute to invite in my entourage of energies who guide me through this life as best they can, trying to rein me in and herd me through these beautiful missions that I'm dropped into. So maybe if you'll take a moment to do the same, all the energies that help you through this course of life, asking them to be here with us today. And I find we don't have to wait too long for that to happen. So with the ask, I immediately say thank you, because I know as soon as it is said, it is done. And the people who love and watch over us are with us. And go ahead, come back to your body a little bit. Maybe wiggle your hands, your toes, open your eyes when you feel ready. Thank you for indulging that. I definitely could not start talking about myself without having the energies that help me do this work in the room to introduce themselves first. So thank you for being here. And hi, I'm Kursten. I am many things. I am a folk herbalist. I am a meditation junkie. I am an operations manager, and I am a director of metaphysical arts education with a brilliant company that I am launching with a team of wonderful people called Land of Verse. I love all things metaphysical. I love all things connective, self-reflective, and compassion-based. And that's sort of what has led me here today to this podcast with you, Halleck.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. And because you said something that really struck me, and thank you also for that beautiful drop-in, by the way. You said I couldn't do this without first doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to guess Kirsten's probably not like a Leo, because I could jump in talking about myself without doing anything. With that being said, I'm going to be a little nosy. I think I've probably learned this from you before, but do you mind telling me your sun, moon, and rising again?
Absolutely. I will gratefully tell you that. So I actually do have a dash of Leo. It's my Leo rising. Thank goodness for that bit that gets me through the world, because my moon is in Scorpio and my sun is in Sagittarius. So I'm consistently drawn to the depths and the edges of cycles of birth and life with a philosopher's and curious mind for learning.
Thank you so much. As you say that, it does rekindle and it does remind me. And I'm like, oh, right. Is that the reason I liked her? Like immediately, Kirsten, I think we first met, or I first kind of, I came into your energy and your aura through the Scarlet Sage, which is in a lot of ways, especially as it comes to online healing arts and learning and the learning community, the land of verse. I think I first came across you when I was beginning my herbalism certification course. I think that's where I first kind of ran into you, and I began to follow you on Instagram. I will never get over how much I love your Instagram tag, like heifers and honeybees. I think it is so wonderful. I also heard that beautiful, beautiful Southern accent. I'm a Mississippi girl. I knew the moment I was like, okay, we got another Southern girl in here. Like, who is she? Where is she from? And so with that, one of my first questions, can you talk to me a little bit and share with folks a little bit about how you identify spiritually? I know we all understand and we respect land acknowledgement, where we sit, where we practice, where we come from. And just kind of in that vein, do you mind telling me a little bit about how you identify spiritually? How do you come to this work?
Yeah, so I come to this work deeply through my own lineage. I'm a second generation Greek American. My grandparents, my Yaya and Papu, came through Ellis Island and lived in Brooklyn for most of their lives, had my father, who then met my mother, who was a woman from the South, from the deep South, y'all. Girard, Georgia, actually, Southern Georgia, where everything is sand and they make something grow from it. And so I'm just a product of this amalgamation of like two very different worlds. And with that, just like have been navigating for a long time, sort of these two cultures that could not be more different, being physically located in the Southeast, being very different from the people around me, and really searching for a sense of community and connection. I was raised within two religions, sort of straddling my mother's Methodist roots and my father's Greek Orthodoxy. Within them, I saw the same impulse, the same desire, which was for connection and some sort of sense of purpose in life. And so my spirituality has really become about embracing the beauty and freedom of getting to know we get to create what that looks like for ourselves. And so my spirituality is psychological. It's a lot about my own mental health and self-care. It's empowering. It's about my politics and my social beliefs, but it's also wellness based, which is a lot of fat positivity, body liberation, and ability to exist in this world as the unique creature that we are. So that's how I would sum up my spirituality. It is unique to me. It has components of herbalism, breath work, and community, are the top three words I would use to describe it.
Brilliantly expressed. Thank you so much for that. I love that you mentioned this is the way the way we live, and bringing in like that this is how you, I'm going to say manage, but like, our mental health, like your practice of herbalism, like that is so important. It's so difficult for us to kind of just give like a title or a tag as to our spirituality. But I feel when I ask people that question, what I get is that brilliant, beautiful, multi-textured, multifaceted response that you gave me. I appreciate that so much. I myself personally identify a culture as a hoodoo, which is an African-American kind of folk magic and spirituality. It's not syncretized with, but it's closely connected to the Southern African-American church. So thank you so much for sharing that. You also brought up something else, and I made a note about your ancestry. I think ancestry, especially in my practice and my praxis, is so important, our ancestral connections. And my husband is a historian who worked at Ancestry.com for almost 10 years. So when you said that about like your ancestors and where they came through, I was like, okay, note to self, when she comes over for dinner, my husband, let me remember to bring that up, because he's going to have a lot he wants to ask and inquire about. I think our ancestry is such an important part and our ancestral practice. is so important to the work. And I was curious about it because I love asking people about their origin stories, particularly people that love tarot, that use it, that embrace it, that it's a part of, it's a part of either their mindfulness practice, or they use it for the beautiful intuitive art of divination. And I'd love to ask you, Kursten, tell me a little bit about your tarot origin story. I'd love to know where you even first heard about it, first picked up your deck and decided, oh yeah, this is for me. This is something that I'm going to dig into and dedicate myself to.
For sure. So, a lot of my work within spirituality has been based in service. So, I'm a person who finds themselves around metaphysical spaces where people are needing essentially employees. Almost my whole entire career as a young adult has been based in these wonderful metaphysical communities. So, tarot actually came to me first, not so much for me to be a reader, but to spread the word about tarot and to help destigmatize tarot for entry level people into the mystical world. And so that's what a lot of my work was. And then eventually started working with tarot readers themselves to help organize their own businesses. And so I guess I've just been an ally to tarot, is sort of what it feels like. We've sort of been buddies where it's like, hey, Kursten, those random skills you have because you decided to do 3 different majors in college. Those are the perfect mix that help people wanting to make a career out of tarot, and you should spread this information with them. So really at a heart for service. And then on a personal level for me, tarot is a mixture of all of the ways I enjoy dropping in the visual, artistic element, the embodied, psychological element, but then also just the tingle of the divine that happens when the two sort of meet and something magical has just happened. So that's really one of the reasons I love tarot, because it's interpretive and it's so based on your own perspective. Tarot's not asking you to give up the things you believe. Tarot is not asking you to forsake your truth. In fact, tarot will just get you closer to your own truth, refining and refining and refining it. So
I literally listen to you talk, and while you're shuffling, I immediately go into reader mode. And I'm like, keep talking. I'm shuffling. I keep talking, keep going. I'm shuffling. And so if that's okay with you, Kursten, I'm going to pull a card for us.
Yeah.
And I'm
absolutely saw you pick up the deck. Had to
of
hear.
course. The second you started, I was like, okay, well, I can't just sit here like I'm not a reader. And that because to me, our voice, our conversation, it gets it into the deck. And I thought that I might pull a card for our listeners and people that are, either seeing us on YouTube or hearing this on the Pillars, the Porch, and the Path. And as we get ready to dive into something I'm very, very excited to talk about, which is the tarot certification class with the Land of Verse, that you are the lead faculty on, that I'm going to be coming on board as a member of the tarot faculty this summer. I cannot wait to get into that. And Kursten, what else? And I'm kind of masking my excitement. It makes sense that this card would have come up because I've been talking about it this morning. Shuffle the cards, talking to you. This is the Ace of Wands. I love talking about the aces, opportunities, and I just wanted to share that card with the collective. The aces represent an opportunity, right? The universe blows open a window. It opens a door. It does not necessarily guarantee, oh yeah, you're going to hit it out of the park. It's going to be 100% successful. But it does say, if you want to plant a dream seed, the soil is fertile. The sun is shining. Your emotional waters are running clear. Might be a rainstorm coming, coming up. And, all signs look very good. And of course, I'm a eclectic hoodoo. I'm a fire witch. I love to set things on fire. We know that the wands correspond to the element fire. And as I was discussing a little bit earlier this morning, this card with my community, all of our intentions, where we take time with understanding like what we're longing for, connecting to our passion, our intuition, our creativity, and where we start making the spark. The universe has given us an idea that, now is a good time. Like when we see the Ace of Wands, that, time to really think about like taking advantage of an opportunity, taking advantage of the energies of the luminaries of your own practice, your own ability to be the magician, right? To bring together earth, air, fire, water, to be a catalyst, to create. And now it's time to take that and to do something with it, to act. Like to use our will. And this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time for that, and a great opportunity. And for, like I was saying, those of you that are interested in tarot, it tickles your fancy. It's a little white rabbit that you enjoy chasing. You feel that maybe it's a part of your call of the wild or is a tool that could be helpful for you and you want to get into it. We have got something very exciting to talk to you about. And it's a little bit about the Community Tarot Certification Program at the Land of Verse. I'm going to have a link for it right down in the show notes, y'all. So if you're curious about it while you're listening, go ahead and, go ahead and open it up, look at the show notes, touch and agree with that link. You may see somebody that looks really familiar to you, that may be familiar to you when you tap on that link and you go to it. It is a comprehensive write-up and a description of what the experience is going to be like. One of the things I love about the way Land of Verse writes about the certification and the program is that it's a community tarot reader. Like, can we just get started with, it's one of the reasons I decided to take the community herbalist certification from Land of Verse. I don't think I necessarily wanted or needed to be a clinical herbalist. There are some of my classmates that are going to go on to continue in their studies with the Land of Verse, and they're going to become clinical herbalists. That was not for me, but I knew that my knowledge and my connection to ancestral spirit, to plant spirit and plant medicine was going to help me be a better practitioner. It was going to help me be a better tarot reader, a social audio creator. It's a part of my indigenous and African heritage. And I knew that Land of Verse understood that and would respect that. And so I loved even the moniker and the title and the name, Community Herbalism. Can you talk to us a little bit about why a community needs tarot readers and needs more and needs readers that are quote unquote certified? Could you talk to us about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the first part that I'd love to chat about is the community element. I mean, this is our value and an absolute objective, which is inclusivity, because community is at the heart of everything that we do. It's part of the magic that you get with a verse certification. It's a very rare experience to be seen and see others and be accepted in your healing arts journey. And that's something that in our certifications are the norm. Right? I meet so many people who are afraid to talk about tarot, afraid to talk about herbalism, and they don't know if they're going to say something wrong or if this person's even a safe space to talk about it with. And with our certifications, that's what you get. It's a normal everyday thing for you to be as quote unquote weird as you might want to be, to talk about all the woo that you want to, and no one is going to ever look at you sideways. In fact, the only thing that we'll do is continue to press in and say, go further with that, go further with that. So the community aspect is at the heart of everything that we do in our certifications. One thing I'd like to address next is why do we need more community tarot readers? And, for me, I just see so much hurting in the world. I see so many people turning to each other for comfort, for direction, for support. And I think that tarot is a really beautiful way for us to support each other. How nice is it? I can think back to so many evenings with girlfriends who are heartbroken and come over and, are crying over a glass of wine and just needing some direction. And we pull out a tarot deck, and it's just a fountain of a way to stimulate conversation between two people to process through the really difficult things that we go through in the world. And so that is community tarot reading. I think I've explained it as it's like that beautiful Oprah moment in the late aughts when she gave everyone in the studio a car. And she's like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. And being a community tarot reader is like that, but with tarot cards, right? It's like that person at the co-op that you just met that you want to connect with a little bit, they get a card. That random person at the bus stop that saw your deck and thought that it was kind of cool, but doesn't really know what tarot is, they get a card. Your best friend who needs direction, they get a card. It's just a way to interact with the world, in a way to give of ourselves, but not take on other people's stuff. It feels just really liberating and connective to me.
You're so right about that. And as you use that beautiful, excellent example, I also want to let our folk and our people that are listening to us know, people want this information. No matter, I find that the second people find out that you're a reader, the second the cards come out, everyone gets focused and everyone gets interested. The first podcast conference I ever went to last year, I decided to make just my own special deck, just a little QR code to my podcast. I gave one to one person in every single room I went into. And so we're going to get into talking about like you're using tarot for your business, the value of not only your certification, but if you want to, if you're thinking about becoming a practitioner, if you're thinking about putting up your shingle, like why it's so important. But I just wanted to hone in on what you said about that too. Like everyone needs it. My sister, my co-host, makes this joke. Haliki, we got to get it. We got to give it to him. You feel motivated because we got to give it to him. And I remember the first time she said that, I was like, what? And she goes, we got to give it to him. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, you know why we got to give it to him? And I was like, Andy, what are you talking about? She goes, because they want it. That's what we had. Like, that's why we got to give it to him. And so when you say that, like, you get a tarot deck, like you get a deck, I love that because it is for, tarot is not like some sort of Damocles. Sure, there are some messages that are sometimes a little tough for us to integrate or even sometimes even communicate to the people that we're reading for. The more we do it, the easier it gets. Another reason it's wonderful to be a part of the certification because you're right. You're in a community with people that it's sometimes just even having your own tarot practice and then your love of your own deck isn't enough. You want to talk about it. The only thing more fun I find than reading for people or teaching people is talking about it. So thank you so much for that. And I also want to point out too, I think the tarot is one of the most affordable and one of the most accessible ways to learn about your intuition, to learn about your ancestry, your traditions of magic and of healing. So I love that it's included as a healing art with the land of verse. And thank you so much for that. Can you talk to us a little bit about the value of I call it just a tarotcation, like a tarot education? Because some people would say, why do you need a certification? I mean, I think about somebody like me. It's getting a little long in the tooth. I'm almost 50. And when I picked up my first deck in 1995, it was in a Barnes and Noble. Like it was not inside, but I was a young woman who was in need of so much healing. I was newly married, barely been married for 4 months. I moved all the way to New England after Dartmouth. Like I was alone. I couldn't even really acknowledge that I wasn't intuitive, that I was a hoodoo, was a witch, because a lot of things. And so I had to learn on my own. There were no podcasts. There were no internet courses. There were very few, I won't say few books, but, like a good 7 or 8 books if you could get them. And there certainly weren't podcasts or anything like this. And so I had to kind of, I had to get into it and learn on my own. I was very self-directed. I am sometimes just a little bit jealous of what our new practitioners have, like this wealth and this abundance, this abundance of learning. And it is an investment to take this class. Can you talk to us a little bit about why it is absolutely worth the investment and why it's so valuable?
For sure. I'm definitely a part of that generation that grew up with a lot of access to information, right? I grew up in the days of, I'm a millennial still, but definitely, as I came into esoterica, I had Twitter at my disposal. You have the whole entire internet, right? And I'll say from that perspective, it's sometimes a double-edged sword because then it's like, I don't know where to go for this information, right? Like there are 1,000 people saying 1,000 different things. There is no container. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's what I currently see with tarot is like, you could find information anywhere. What's lacking is container in my experience. And so do you need a tarot certification to read tarot? I would love for everyone to hear me very clearly when I say abso-fucking-lutely not. I do not want anyone to feel like they, in order to pick up a tarot deck, have to have a certification. Tarot is for everyone. You are a tarot reader because you pull a card and say what it means. I want to make that like super clear. The value of something like a certification is about having the chance to actually study and practice your art and skill within community. That's really the basis of what's happening here, right? Is how many times have you said, oh, I'm going to do that 30-day pull a card program and it's 3 months later and you forgot to even open your tarot deck, right? You had no structure to guide you through. You had no form of even excitable accountability where you want to engage these practices because you want to share and someone's holding you in that growth. And so that's what these programs are about. It's not permission to say that you can have access to tarot. I want to make that really clear. Everyone has access to tarot, but to get a certification like this, it's a very cool thing to have a deep study and to dedicate yourself to an intensive. The growth that I've seen people go through at the end of 9 months is beyond what I can imagine. And I think the best way I can sum it up is to say these certifications are about so much more than tarot. they're just about so much more than that. That's at the heart. That's the guiding through line that guides us through, but it's really a process of growth and self-empowerment.
Ah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Beautifully, beautifully, beautifully expressed. Thank you so much. One of the interesting kind of arguments that we see sometimes on Witch Talk or like Tarot Talk or on social media is like, is this tarot a closed practice? So I love the way you emphasize that. Absolutely, absolutely not. But you're right. There's something beautiful about community and being held, you're right, in this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous container, just as someone that is, I'm not, what do they used to say about the hair club for men or something? Like, I'm not just I'm not just a spokesperson, like I'm a client, like the land of verse, the Scarlet Sage, as a student and as a new member of faculty, I just need to say, like, and also as a woman of color, as a person who has Indigenous ancestry, I feel so respected, so honored. There's something about the faculty, the beauty of our syllabus, the way it's so thoughtfully designed, and the way we're led through it, the way we're introduced to faculty members, the opportunity to be in even a smaller container in cohorts and be able to share, to check in, is so wonderful. It is so respectful of who we are as we come to the beautiful intuitive art and the practice of tarot. And you can really trust your education. When I first thought about studying herbalism, there were other places and other collectives respectable in their own rights that I could have gone to, but there was something very special about Scarlet Sage, and I knew, I was like, oh, I'm respected here, I'm trusted, and I can trust my instructors, and I'm valued here, and my experience, is wanted. So I'm so excited about that. And thank you for sharing that. I have to ask a little bit. I'm going to ask about something that I think is fun for those of us that read for people, for other people. It's one thing to read for yourself. It is something entirely different. It is a horse of a different color to read for someone else. And I just think there are so many funny, amazing, shocking stories and things that come across. Can you share one of your favorite tarot reading moments, whether it was amazing or, like, do you mind sharing
All
that
of the ones come to mind first, honestly, and maybe that's what we'll press in. I always trust that whatever's in the room is where we go towards, and so I think I'll talk about maybe the moments where I have directly put my foot in my mouth as a reader. I can think about times when one specific tarot reading where I was doing a reading with this person, definitely assumed their gender, assumed their, stance on life. And I'm talking about this Three of Swords energy and talking about this heartbreak. And the larger spread was really telling me, like, decide between these two people. And I just remember sort of being very gently told that I actually don't choose between people. I am polyamorous. And I had a moment where I just realized, on a personal level and a professional reader level, the importance of knowing how to hold that informed space for other people. And so, we have a community tarot program, but this year we're launching a new advanced tarot practitioner program. And the real sort of press for that for me, and I even feel it like in my chest, is I have seen some tarot readers do and say, and I have been a tarot reader who has done and said some things that definitely were not healing for others, right? I've watched people really abuse the power of someone coming to them for answers. And so I guess what I have to say is, it is very important to me, if we choose to read for others, to do it in a way where we are informed enough to not do more harm unto other people. So I'm sure that's a question that normally brings some like fun, light, a lot of levity answers. But I take reading for other people professionally, meaning that they give you money or there's some sort of trade of services where you are like exchanging energy in that way. I think it is such a important thing to do ethically, and to do with as much awareness as possible. And so, yeah, that's one thing I wanted to bring into the space, is that, when we're playing with tarot, it's like you said, it's one thing to read for yourself, to read for your family, your friends, as a touch point. It's another thing to sit in an authority that says, I somehow have access to information that you don't. And I think it's just so important to do that in a way that is equitable and safe for people. So that's my slight tangent on the ethics of tarot reading.
Oh no, I thank you so much for sharing that. Like One of the things that I'm so looking forward to, because hopefully I'll be delivering some curriculum for our advanced practitioners. I have been working and learning the hard way about establishing your business, because for years, decades, I was doing this work. I was reading for people, but it was very trauma informed work. I come from the healing, not professions, but my muggle work was all in domestic violence, sexual assault, reproductive health care, crisis counseling, support group facilitation, program design, sitting on a couple of boards. And I saw how powerful the tarot was, especially in terms of, again, helping survivors of abuse begin a conversation with themselves about themselves. The tarot was brilliant for that. And so being trauma informed is something that I take very seriously. And when I decided to, quote unquote, like put out my shingle, it was challenging, right? Because I was learning all of these. I'm an intuitive. I love the metaphysical and the intuitive and the psychic arts. But I also have this like liberal arts, like education, but I'd also been used to working in big nonprofit. I am so thrilled to be working with you and the other instructors to help them to understand these components of building a business, like building a social presence, a presence online, choosing what are the different channels we want to do that. How do we niche down? Like, who do we want to, work with? How do we want to work with the tarot and bring it to the fore? And so that's going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful addition to the certification courses. And I just want to let everybody know your links to doing that. And I have a special link. My links aren't regular links. They're special. They're special links.
Special links.
They're extra special links. And I know this because I'm here speaking with the creator of these beautiful links. But if you use my links, we have a beautiful, juicy discount for you. So I'm going to have that down in the show notes. I feel like it's a part of the energetic exchange. You are making an investment. We want to also make that investment. And for those of you that listen to me, know me, and trust me, I think y'all know about Andy and I talk about the spirit of discernment. I know Kursten knows what the spirit of discernment is. She is a creature from the South. So I know you have heard of that before. It's a rare thing for me to align myself with and collaborate with someone in this way, but everyone and everything that that's been associated with Scarlet Sage, the beautiful new land of verse, you all are going to love. You can trust us with your tarot instruction, your tarot learning, and being a part of our circle. Kursten, is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with the people?
Yeah. I mean, the last thing I'll throw out there is we actually also, I love that you're talking about the accessibility portion, and we are trying to make these programs as accessible as possible. So I did want to let you know that for the month of June, we are offering a 12-month payment plan for our tarot certification programs. And so some of those numbers are like, I think it's $65 a week for some of those programs. And so just want to let you know about our June tarot specials, where we're again just trying to make this as accessible, but also as low stress as possible for people. If finances are a barrier, we are dedicated to doing everything that we can to have people receive access to community and resources and knowledge. So I would love to just share that amazing deal that we put together for everyone.
And just because I get to see behind the veil a little bit, if I am the high priestess, as it were, it's one of the reasons actually, and not sure if I ever shared this with y'all. One of the reasons we call the podcast, The Pillars, the Porch, and the Path, is because I love pillars in the tarot. I think they're so important. They mean something. So I'm able, because I'm working with Kursten, I'm able to see behind the veil a little bit, but she's put so much love and so much care into the design of this curriculum, the instructors that are chosen, the careful, training that we are given, the community that we're even going to hold for ourselves as faculty members, because what we're doing is so important. It's our job to hold and nurture and educate you. I just want to say again and reiterate and amplify the care with which your tarot education is being constructed and delivered and supported. It's going to be amazing for you. And especially for those of you that are considering, do I want to put a shingle out? I need some support. I need people that understand who I am. If I do choose, how am I going to put myself out there on social media? How do I, promote what it is I do? How do I deepen, my practice to provide the best possible tarot services, or even tarot-tainment, if that's the way you decide to go? Because that's also an avenue too, and can be a pillar of a business. All of these things are being designed and delivered with a great deal of care. And I hope you see that, and you will see it as we're kind of talking about and rolling out promotion. Kursten, how can people get into your world? How how can they find you, follow you, if they have questions they want to ask you, because it's an investment that is absolutely worth it. I need for you all to know, if you do this the right way, you can move from making these investments to bringing in revenue to operating in the black and being profitable, in not that, in the exact same amount of time that other businesses, small or otherwise, do. But I really want for people to know, how can they get into the world of heifers and honeybees? How can they find out more? If people want to DM you or ask you questions, what's the best way for them to do that?
For sure. Find me on Instagram. I am recently back on Instagram after like a 3-month hiatus that was good for my soul and creative direction. So find me at Heifers and Honeybees on IG. You can also email me anytime at Kursten@landofverse.com. That's Kursten at landofverse.com. I also just did a free mini class with Scarlet Sage. So you can hop over to scarletsage.com and sign up for the Community Tarot Reader Workshop. Use code TAROT and you actually will get that class for free. And so spend about an hour with me learning about the sort of intro level and curriculum and teachers. So check out that mini workshop. But the biggest thing, as you can tell here, I love a good conversation. So if you have a question, just email me. We'll hop on the phone. We'll talk it through. I love connecting with people. So please do not hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much for that, Kirsten. And also, we hope to provide you an opportunity too to be in conversation with us. We're going to look into social audio and perhaps doing some live Q&As and some more information, not just about the certification program, just about like, what is tarot? Why is it important? Why is it something that, you may want to have in your mindfulness, your wellness toolkit? Like, it's just amazing in doing the work that I do, whether I'm reading for people in person at the beautiful loft at the Scarlet Sage, or whether I'm doing virtually on the website. There are so many amazing parts and aspects to tarot. It does not have to, you do not have to take it up to learn it to become a practitioner. There's so many beautifully perfect, practically magic applications for it, whether it's planning, inspiring, creativity, creative projects. One of my favorite things ever that I ever experienced with other readers was doing the Celtic cross for character development and building a novel. There's so many amazing things that you do. We use the tarot when coming up with our podcasting calendar for the year. What is the journey we want to take people on? I'm also offering one of my first courses in collaboration with the Scarlet Sage, which is tarot spells for road opening. I kind of take and I explain to you what road opening work is, or abre camino. It comes from, it's kind of a phrase and it's a working, although they may use it in like Appalachian and actually I take that back. I know that there's road opening in Wicca and witchcraft. So, and I'm going to be giving you a comprehensive overview of that. What is it? Talking about the correspondences, helping you do some of this road opening work that has yielded such benefits for me and my business. And I tell you this, I could not have done it without the tarot. The tarot's been there. It all begins and ends with that, with me. What a thrill to chat with you, Kursten. This has been, without a doubt, one of the most fun interviews I've done. And I think you're the 6th Boss Switch interview I've done. This is such a pleasure. I've watched, I've certainly watched all of your interviews and your talking about this and doing promo on Instagram and different channels. What an honor to have you on our show. Thank you so much. Y'all are going to be hearing more from Kursten. Again, I want for everybody to go to the show links.
Yes.
Get out that deck. I know you got one. Y'all got one. A lot of people have decks that have been traveling around with them for years that someone gave them. If you've got one, this is my invitation. Listen to, you may want to re-listen to this episode. Get it out. Be flipping through, touching your cards, making a connection. Also, one of the things you'll learn in certification too is how to, if you've got an old deck, if somebody has gifted you one, we'll be talking about cleansing, consecrating your deck, like beginning a practice, like all of these wonderful, rich things. So get it out. Start playing around with the idea. There's a reason you still have it. There's a reason when you go to different shops and you see one and it catches your eye and you wonder whether or not I should pick it up. That is intuition. That is the call. That is someone telling you, yeah, maybe this is worth the time, the energy, and the effort. And who knows what brilliant beautiful, wonderful portal will be opened in the beginning of this journey. Kursten, thank you so much. This is not going to be the last time you'll hear from Kursten. Be looking out, watch this space, check the show notes, get into that invitation. I want you to get into it and think about, how is the tarot calling me? Is this something I want to do and I want to begin? And remember, our card was the Ace of Wands. That card came to us in that little mini reading for a reason. The time is right. The universe has opened a door, and let's consider what it may look like in there. Let's consider walking around inside.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kursten. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
I know y'all enjoyed that show. So much is happening for Andy and I this summer. And one of the things I've been keen to announce and share with all of you is that I'm a new tarot faculty member at the Land of Verse. And this summer, I'll be teaching in their community tarot certification course. This is a tarot program unlike any other because it's been specifically crafted for people who are committed to learning from a diverse collection of trusted teaching voices. So if you are seeking a tarot education that doesn't just come from one person and holds decolonized perspectives alongside deep appreciation for the magical unknown, this is definitely the tarot program for you, and it's why I have chosen, and I am delighted to teach there. As a student of ancient arcana and Jungian archetypes in this tarot certification, you're going to learn the visual language of tarot to bring clarity and confidence to your life. It's a 100-hour tarot certification, and it's perfect for someone interested in expanding their tarot hobby into an intentional practice, and y'all know how I feel about that. If you're looking to deepen your readings, and if you're needing personal support in a time of transition, this certification is perfect for you. If you're ready to initiate your tarot adventure with the Land of Verse, I even have a special discount coupon code just for you right down there in the show notes. It's going to be an amazing year of instruction. I'm so glad to be on board and a part of the faculty. And for those of you who've been asking, and y'all have been asking for a while, who have been interested in learning tarot with me, this is your opportunity. And you know how we feel about the importance of road opening and opportunity making around here. So get into the show notes, tap that link, take advantage of the special discount coupon code that I've got down there for you. And I can't wait to see you in the tarot certification course. And if you're wanting more of our potent pillars, porch, and path energy to sustain and inspire you during the week, go ahead and email us at pillarsporchpath@gmail.com and tell us what's on that magical, mystical mind of yours. Follow us on social media. All of our handles and links are down there in the show notes. Join us at our new home on the Geneva app. This is our brand new and ultra fabulous free community that Andy and I are creating just for you. This is where you can find our pre-show shenanigans and the extra special content that we are revealing just for you. And for you darlings that just want to say thank you for all of this magical goodness, did you know that you can buy us a coffee? Yeah, we love coffee. I probably love it a little bit too much, but you can do that by clicking the sparkly coffee link in the show notes. All right, all of you heavenly hoodoos, boss witches, and sexy AF sorceresses and spellcasters, join us right here on our porch next week for a juicy episode on the wearable magic of talismans and amulets. Next week, same day, same time, same bat channel on the Pillars, the Porch, and the Path.